South Africans are talking about issues closest to their hearts. They believe issues that they believe the president needs to tackle this evening. And with us here in the studio is the leader of Rise Mzansi, Songezo Zibi, to hear what you as politicians think is, from where you sit, what is topmost in your minds. People are mentioning unemployment, people are talking about crime from the conversations we had with South Africans in that clip that we played. What for you are the issues that the president simply shouldn't ignore this evening?
I think for me the question is what the president should start with and how emphatically he needs to say it. And that is, there are two feelings in the country. People are angry and people are fearful. People are angry because there are some serious infrastructure issues, particularly water, and water is life sustenance, and it's also terrifying at the same time. It's not just in Johannesburg. There are lots of places like the rural areas from which I come, which have had the Joburg type water crisis for a very long time, and we can't keep using big words to characterize it. So there is an issue of the anger. The second point of anger relates to the stuff that's coming out of the Madlanga Commission. It's not just what General Mkwana is saying. It's also why people are afraid. You've got to trust the police. You really have to trust the police. And what we see is that there are far fewer reasons to trust the police than there were last year. That makes South Africans not only feel unsafe, but to actually be unsafe, because to have big criminals cavorting with ministers and senior generals in the police does not inspire confidence. It says people cannot blow the whistle, they cannot report crimes and so on because harm may befall them. That's something that I've also said to the president when we spoke, that he needs to demonstrate to South Africans that he is listening. He understands the seething anger that South Africans have, and that he needs to respond with assertive actions in terms of how that situation is going to get turned around. And I think if he starts there, then we've got a good basis for a good conversation about the future. Of course, there are many other important things, but he needs to start there.
I mean, in your statements in terms of what you expect from the president, you've also spoken about some positive offshoots as a result of the government of national unity in many ways, and this will be his second speech leading the GNU. Just take us through some of those positives, because I suppose that's also where he's probably going to start off, wanting to have a good story to tell.
Yeah, and I think it's important that South Africans have a bit of perspective. The last time there was a coalition government in South Africa was in 1948. 1994 wasn't actually a coalition government in the sense that the electorate had voted that way. It was a pre-arrangement as part of the negotiated settlement. The last time before that was in 1948. I think we would all be naive, and I said this from the beginning, that budgets are going to be difficult, a whole lot of things are going to be difficult, because the parties have never had to govern together before, and you should expect some kind of tensions. One of the positives is that my experience of the period since the budget debacle has been that a lot of lessons have been learned. The process has been a hell of a lot smoother than it was before. And therefore the messaging that's going to come through in this speech, I expect it to be a lot clearer than it was, and a lot less contentious within the GNU. So that is the first thing. The second thing that and I've again said this to the president in our previous interactions, that Operation Vulindlela is very important. Yeah. South Africans don't understand what it's about. They don't understand how important the things contained therein are in terms of structural reforms, so that we can get the economic growth that we need. If we don't have a combination of things, first, tough policy choices where we take decisions that go against some of our oldest held things like private investment in public goods, etc., etc. We are not going to get there. There's not enough money, one. Two, it takes long to stabilize and rebuild infrastructure, especially when it is being eroded by climate change all the time. And the fact that the economic growth projection is no longer just above 1%, it's 1.4%, and if we continue to show momentum, it might further improve, is not to be taken lightly. It's important. We're out of the grey list.
Yes.
The rand is stronger. Inflation is coming down. We're paying less interest on the debt that we have as a country. It was supposed to be 424 billion. It's likely to dip below 400 billion for the first time when the finance minister announces his budget. Those are all positives because it means you have more money to go to essential services and into growing the economy. So, of course, there are positives that we should not underestimate.
So when will we feel it, me, at home, in my pockets, with more disposable income? Your projections?
You know, one of the things I think is important, the area that mostly affects our lives, by the way, it's local government.
Yep.
It's a disaster. Okay, it is a disaster. And we have 3 spheres of government, not 3 levels of government. My view, and I've held this for a very long time, the major economic and industrial nodes, those municipalities need to be put under administration. You cannot continue to limp along with the administration you have in the city of Johannesburg. You can't. Because it undermines everything that the national government is trying to do. Because they must supply the water. Who's going to invest in the city of Johannesburg without water? This is the thing. So we need to take some tough political decisions. In my view, places like Buffalo City is an important node. Places like the city of Johannesburg, places like the city of Ekurhuleni, the Mangaung Metro, put those under administration.
There was a presidential working group, so I want to know, you know, we've had a, let me speak about Johannesburg. We had a bomb squad, the president went there, presidential, you said whole spheres.
Because
it's not working.
Everybody, listen, if the harm is tangible to people, they have no water, the people are pottering about, and some of the people that we place as MMCs, I mean, they shouldn't head up anything if you are serious about
political
ethics.
arrangements, and they're necessary because this is the coalition reality.
If you can't provide water, there is enough. Water is a fundamental human right. If you're not able to provide it, get out of the way. There is sufficient reason for the MEC for Kokta, as well as the Minister for Kokta and Treasurer and everybody. I've seen the audit reports of the city of Johannesburg. They're frightening for all of their entities and the municipality itself. No, these gimmicks don't work. If they did, there wouldn't be a water crisis right now, but there is one.
But then, is there an understanding among all of you who have had this tornadoing, and you're saying that over the past year lessons have been learned, which to me translates into you understanding each other better than was the case when you started. But is there a recognition that the very issues you are raising, especially when it comes to the biggest party in the GNU, that these issues are fundamental, and without addressing them, there's no way we're going to deal meaningfully with anything that is confronting us?
There is no disagreement on that. I've said the same, even in the discussions with other leaders of the GNU, that the state of local government undermines nearly every intervention that is being made at national level. It's unsustainable. I would go as far as saying if we need to relook our constitutional framework, we need to do that. The horror stories we receive through the Auditor General and the SIU about the state of local government says it's not just a funding issue. You have fundamentally people who shouldn't oversee anything except their own bank account. Running municipalities, critical municipalities at that. Of course, it's partly an outcome of voters' choices as well. And I want to call a spade for you. It makes no sense for people to vote in an ex-con into a position and then turn around and say public servants must do something about it. As voters, we all also need to take responsibility. You can't keep doing the same thing and hope to get a different outcome. What did people think Kabelo Gwamanda was going to do for the city of Johannesburg? In all seriousness.
But that wasn't our fault. That wasn't our fault. That was something that was negotiated with the ANC and other parties. And this is the part that makes coalition governments so difficult, because I can vote for Songezo Zibi, but Songezo might not be able to agree with his other political friends there. And then what?
You work with the stock that you have, and the stock that the people chose to elect is bad. That's a bottom line. And so we need to have a holistic discussion with voters and say, the politicians have a responsibility. Voters have a responsibility to fire people in an election. They need to start firing Zian.
I'm not sure if the president is willing to, slam that guillotine in the way that you are describing it. Chairperson of SCOPA and the leader of Rising Mzansi, Songezo Zibi, really, just chop. And I think that's what South Africans will want as we let Songezo Zibi go. Thank you for your time.